on because Steve's got family there. So let's talk. So we talk golf. Let's talk football. Jesse, in case nobody knows, runs our a fantasy league I've been part of for since 2017, I think 2016 ish. Mm-hmm. He's been running for like 20 years.
So you're the reason why this idiot's on the internet doing stupid shit.
Wow. Jesse liked the videos.
I only motivated him to think larger.
Hey,
okay, and that's what he came up with.
Hey, Steve.
So in my defense, wait, let me defend myself real quick because I'm getting accused now. In all the years that I have been on this fantasy league, I've always been gone at training, school, or deployed. I've never, ever been for a whole season.
He meant to say he's always been dead last. That's what he meant.
Okay, I was that too. No, I was dead last at one time. But hold on, I'm still defending myself, all right? I'm the lawyer. I objected to the judge, so I'm doing my little part.
I'm pulling up the league history while you're doing this. Go ahead. Continue.
Thank you, Jesse. So, we have the loser bracket thing, and so I got the belt. So I say, hey, Jesse, I'm going to make this fun because there's always a loser every year, and no one makes it fun. I'm like, I'm going to make it fun, man. Like, I'm going to do these videos. So I started going, and I was testing Jesse and everybody like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Just to get the league going. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it. Obviously, it started the YouTube channel. Me and Steve were talking about when I was in Korea, but some of the members of the fantasy group liked it. Jesse was all supportive of it. We even did a wrestling thing. So, you can say what you want, but I did finish pretty good this year. Had I not lost one game, I would have won the championship, but I finished pretty good. I had 2 high scoring games for fantasy, I think, this year. I was killing it. I was doing good.
Yep. I ain't gonna lie. Hey, trying to get over that. So,
I sat there for a while, and I had to call Cindy to be like, hey, is Josh okay? Is he on drugs? Does he needs Jesus in his life? That's what he needs.
Football like Jesus.
That's
what he's riding the wave. He's still riding the wave on that almost victory he had there.
Yeah, you would have asked him that last year. You'd been like, man, I'm not doing this channel.
But in my defense, though, I've been gone for all of them. So this is the first year I was for the draft because normally I have to auto draft.
Well, is that why you lost? Is because you were gone and you were, or
it didn't help? But like literally many years I had a Jesse, hey man,
I would have just said like, hey, when I was putting my picks in for who I was switching out. For
no, I didn't pick. Like
the hour difference.
Every year was auto draft. This year I got on camera. I made all my picks. I even got shit because guess what I picked first with the draft? Your boy, your quarterback from the Bills. That was our first pick of the draft.
I mean, that's the best pick you could have made.
I picked Allen. Everyone was like, man, you're picking a quarterback? I'm like,
Jesse, you roll your eyes like that again. I'm going to smack you on the other side so they roll back the other.
But what happened was that first week, I started Allen. He got 4 points. That's when they lost to the Jets. Jeez. I had Baker Mayfield as a backup.
You couldn't drop him because he was your first pick.
I know. I'm committed. But I had Baker because I'm going to pick Bucks. And Baker got like 18 opening weekend. So I did that. That was the first video I did with the redneck mullet. Had I won that game, the rest of the season, I won the rest. Jesse, I'll let the commish talk. Like I did really good this year. Just saying.
So what I do with this entire league, and I've been doing it for 2 decades now, we do draft grades, but we also do end of season grades. And what I do is I'll do a what if. And it's one moment in the entire season for that team that would have changed the entire trajectory. And that one game, had he started Baker Mayfield, he would have gotten one additional win. That one additional win would have moved him from missing the postseason to being seeded. Then, based off of the seed on the other teams that he would have faced, he would have beaten every single one of them hands down and would have won the championship because of that one time he started Josh Allen instead of Baker Mayfield.
And I scored good points. Like Jesse had us do with the NFL. What was that test you had us do last year for who got the first pick, Jesse?
The Wonderlic.
The Wonderlic test. So I did it in Korea on a cell phone because I was like, I'm committed because I'll be home when the season starts. I'm committed, Jesse. I'm doing this with you. So it was like 8 in the morning. I had my phone out. I'm like, all right, Jesse, let's do this. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
I was so disappointed in everybody's Wonderlic. The highest score was 24.
Mine.
Everybody else. Yep. Everybody else was less than that. I did it. I did it just to make sure the test was good. And I just ran through it. I got a 35. And I was like,
in my defense, I did come back from alert. I was kind of tired. You're like Josh. Yeah. I was like, hey man, just put me in. No worries. He was like, no, the other people in the league want you to take this test to see where you go. And I was like, I'm so tired. Fuck it. Let's do it. But hey, I'm dumb. I don't care. I got a degree. It's a good enough degree.
Was the test like from the movie Idiocracy? Trying to put square in. And Josh is like, hey, Josh is that guy that's like.
So no lie. Hey, 2 times in my life I felt super dumb. The test taker
on the test.
No. The test I took for Jesse, and then when you do your TBI test, because they give you all these questions and stuff like math.
Hey, look,
and in my head, I'm like, yo, I got this. I'm like, I give all my answers. It's 20 questions. I was like, how'd I do? She's like, sweetie, you got 4 out of 20. I was like, yeah, I feel dumb.
No, hey, the only test that I ever feel stupid on is when I'm in that freaking hearing conservation room and I'm like,
oh yeah,
I think I heard it. I'm just clicking that button. It's like there's no button, there's no sounds to be heard. Like
go to retire, they'll send you to a specialist, an audiologist. So this lady's sitting right in front of you, and she's manually doing it. So like me, like I'm deaf in my right ear, I'll get a hearing aid. She's looking at you like you should be hitting the button. I'm just sitting there like this.
Like you're a Starship Trooper fighter.
Yeah, you could tell she's like, you should hit the button. I'm like, nothing. I don't hear nothing, So yeah.
If they really want to do that test right, you put my wife in front of me, you let her talk, and I'll be like, what?
Yeah.
Everything. The world shuts off.
Everything. Like, or my daughter, she's like, are you going to answer her? And I'm like, what? She's like, she's been talking to you for like 5 minutes. I'm like, maybe she should come get in visual view.
So, Jesse, I know you're a Cardinals fan. How you feel for your team for the offseason this year so far? How you feeling?
We did less than the Cowboys in the offseason for any kind of free agency. I mean, we somehow did not mess up the draft.
You did not. You did great.
Harrison Jr.
Yep.
And then we filled a bunch of needs. Maybe we reached in a couple spots, but I mean, we still have to contend in a division that's got the Niners. The Rams are still good. The Seahawks are still good. Like, I'll be happy with, I don't know, 6 wins. As long as one of them is against the Niners and it kind of like.
That won't happen. The Niners are stacked.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve? How do you feel for your team for the draft? Happy, upset? What do you think for the draft for the Browns?
We sold our soul. We gave away our draft picks for Watson. So we give up a lot. We didn't really have too many good picks. I think it was decent. We kind of have what we need, to be honest. We just need to stay healthy and make it click. Like Deshaun Watson needs to come in 100%, stay that way.
How about the clutch with Joe Flacco? I thought he did really good, man.
That was amazing. Who knew, man? Who knew that was happening, right? Like you couldn't.
He's sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden he gets called, and he's starting the next week, and he's
eating their chicken wings. He's like,
they get a good Cinderella run, man. I mean, you can't.
But also, a year ago, would you have bet on Joe Flacco if you were the Browns?
No,
right?
Never.
So you kind of have to stick with
the biggest underdog.
Yeah, you kind of have to stick with who you put your money on. So Deshaun Watson's he's gonna have to come through.
Yeah.
Like I said, stay healthy, man. We got a lot of people that need to stay healthy.
And at masseuses, like no massage parlors either for him. Like he can't be doing that shit.
We have an in-team masseuse.
Exactly. You have an in-team that comes to his house or the thing. Yeah. No.
Deshaun has his own locker room, guys.
Yeah. Hey, signs an NDA, all that stuff. You know, you check her at the door or him, whoever.
Yeah, he's got his own private room. So we take care of him.
Let's talk about Jason with the Bills.
No, Diddy. Sorry.
What do you think about for the Bills, Jason? Y'all fucked up getting rid of Diggs, man. That was stupid.
I don't. I think you know what? Like I like Diggs. Don't get me wrong, but you know, with what he was bringing in the offseason and the shit talking and everything else, like how are you going to say last year that we should have won everything else? I'm going to get everything, and then you drop those last passes in the game. So I think that we did really good with Keon Coleman pulling him in. I think that's the number one that we pulled in because you got to look at two things, right? I look at even if the Bills don't go to the Super Bowl or not. Like I've been a Bills fan since the '90s. It doesn't bother me if they lose. I want them to win, of course, but what we're doing with like Keon Coleman and the people that we're bringing in, right? The likership, right? So people are adoring Keon Coleman right now. So he can, as long as he comes out and performs well, and people are still, because I want other people rooting for the Bills, right? And when it comes down to like the playoffs and everything else, so that's what you want, like with any team, right? Like whether it's the Cardinals or whoever else, right? Like, you got to look at it like, at the end of the day, do you want the people on your team to be an asset or not? I'd rather have people that are likable to that, and then we go further. But I think that we have a really good shot this year. I just think that, I think that our when we got rid of Dorsey, our offensive coordinator, I think that paid dividends. They actually let Josh play, but I get a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie, because Josh, you can't do it all on your own. Like,
you think those two guys you think those two guys can fill Diggs' role though? You think they're enough?
Yeah, because you got to remember, man, like, we still have Shakir, we have Kincaid, we have Knox, we have targets. So we've always had targets. Diggs was just that one guy that we had that was fast. But I think this year we picked up 3 receivers. We just let one go. But we have 3 receivers that are quick, tall, and can bully you, right? And that's what we haven't had on the roster for 20 years. So hopefully they can do something.
There's a lot banking on whether or not Allen's gonna be successful.
Yeah, and again, like, I always say, like, I can't grade the draft, right? Like, there's no way you can. The only way you can grade the draft is at the end of the season and see, was everything that you picked, was it correct? So I can sit here all day and say, yeah, it was good or it was bad. I don't really care. At the end of the year, I'll be able to be like, okay, that was some good draft picks. Or,
yeah, it's all a prediction.
We just, or I'm going to be a Bills fan forever, and my mom's going to talk shit and say, boy, I love losing Super Bowls. So, because that's what Bill stands for, apparently.
Hey, I mean, at least you're optimistic. I like that. You've had a culture of success as a Arizona Cardinals fan that has been a traditional team in the league since the 100 years it's been around. We just lose. So, like, I'm a little more pessimistic, and so that rubs off on a lot of teams that I look at. I really worry about the Bills because Diggs was that guy that you had to scheme around.
Mm-hmm.
And now you don't have that. You've got a bunch of one-offs. You've got a bunch of B's and C's. MBS,
Hey, at the end of the day, I'm not a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody can be appreciative of that. But yeah, that wide receiver core, just nobody's scary. And unless, of course, you run a lot of 12 personnel with Kincaid and Knox. And
I think with Kincaid and Knox, right, we still have and Shakir, we still have our dump offs. So that's good. Now, it's just like any other sport.
Dumping off. He's going to be.
Yeah, but it's like any other sport, right? Like, I've got to hope that, Keon Coleman comes in and can perform at the same level that he was performing at in college, because the guy was crushing it. And like, I didn't know, I'll be honest, I didn't know nothing about the guy. I went back and started watching videos, Googling him, things like that. Guy was phenomenal in college. I'm like, damn, how come I never heard of this guy? And then but what it's going to boil down to is the chemistry between Josh Allen and him, right? Because if there's no chemistry, Josh is not going to look to him to throw. He's going to look for immediately Knox or Kincaid or Shakir on a dump out for 6 yards. Well, we needed 10 yards and now we only got 6. So guess what? We're punting. So I think that's where they've got to have that chemistry. And hopefully they do, like I'm
like the Browns from a couple of years ago, to be honest. Like, yeah, that's how we were. We're hoping these guys were going to do well. We had Odell Beckham and fucking Landry. Like, we were hoping these guys were going to do well because they weren't consistent, but they were supposed to be stars. So, I mean,
I'll tell you right now, man, I think the team to beat this year again is going to be the Niners for the NFC. I just think that they're they just got everything. They just have everything given to them, and it's like, God damn. And who I ain't gonna lie, I like unequivocally, I'm rooting for like the Lions to make it to the playoffs and do something, right? Like, I always root for the underdog. Like, I am a Bills fan. Josh knows that. Die hard. I've got like 30 jerseys. Now I got to take the Diggs ones away, but but I've got a lot of jerseys, and so like, but I do. I want I want to see the Lions do well. I want to see these teams that haven't been up in the ranks for years to do good. Yeah,
no,
like
nobody wants Cleveland.
Well, maybe not Cleveland, but
Cleveland already got their Super Bowls when they moved to Baltimore.
Jesse, you're muted. Jesse, you're muted.
Well, you know, and
They did.
Since I've been in Texas for like the majority of my career, right? Like I always talk shit because I'm like, they're like, oh yeah, Houston, Texas. I'm like, bitch, you were the Houston Oilers, man. Come on, man, back up. But you know, like I do like the underdog story, right? Because I think it makes for better competition. It piques my interest more. And so where normally I would watch, like, I know Josh likes the Bucks, I would watch a Bucks game. I'm like, you know what? Let me go watch the Lions game because I want to see what they're doing. You know, and especially if I know I'm playing the Lions the next week, right? Like, I mean, my wife's a 49ers fan, so like she's lucky we're not divorced by now. But I sit there and of course my mom's a Lions fan. She's from Detroit. But I'm like, there's a lot of, I will say, if I had to grade my draft right now, I would say we're at a C-, right, for our draft picks, because I think, and maybe I just don't understand the dynamics. I'm not an MG or, you know, so I don't, or a general manager. I'm not a GM. So I can't sit there and say, hey, why did we give our freaking 28th pick to the dang Chiefs, right? But there was a strategic plan. That's what they wanted. I could sit here all day and say that, and I can sit there every year and say, oh, why did you throw to him? But I'm not on the field and I don't know what's going on through there, you know.
Well, hey, you know, he ain't going to be throwing to Diggs at all this year.
Yeah, but I don't think Diggs is going to really perform that well at Houston either, man. I think that.
I think Houston's got something special going on.
No, this is the only thing that I have with Diggs, though, man. Like, I think he's a phenomenal player. Absolutely. Can't take hands down. But I what we didn't like as Bills fans is all the chaos you created over the years. Like, if me and you were like biological brothers and you're on different teams, if you started posting shit on Facebook or Twitter, I'd be like, hey, man, chill out. You're going to create havoc in my area, man. I'm not doing that to you, so stop doing it to me. You know, and it just created more chaos, and it diverted the team's energy from the game to try to like appreciate Diggs, you know. And I'm like, I got it, dude, but we created so much more cap to be able to grab more people to potentially help us out. So, like I said, whether we go to the Super Bowl or not, like, hey,
you're saying he was a diva.
Absolutely, he is a diva.
But he produced on the field, though, man. I mean,
well, it's kind of like Tyreek.
You got to take
Tyreek Hill in Chiefs. He was a diva. That's why they got rid of him. Like, yeah, he's a good. Like, a lot of teams do that. You're a great receiver. You're a great this, great that. But what you bring to the table is not worth the juice. Ain't worth the squeeze.
I think it was the money.
So as a Bills fan, would you take Tyreek Hill to replace Diggs? Because I mean,
no, I wouldn't even take Tyreek. I wouldn't even want Tyreek Hill. No, because that's another. You're going from a diva to a diva. I'd rather have a new guy.
The Dolphins picked up the diva and then went to the playoffs. Like, I mean, how would you?
Hey, real quick on the Dolphins. You see they signed Beckham for a 1-year gig
for a kicker.
No, Odell Beckham.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
Beckham.
Yeah, dude, he ain't that dude is a freaking diva.
He'll be a slot receiver, man. He'll be good. He'll take pressure off. I'm telling you, but just by the name.
Yeah.
Well, I think.
And that's what Diggs did it for Buffalo.
Yeah, but I don't think they were hitting that far because we were still throwing. If you look at the numbers, we didn't throw to Diggs that much that year. We threw to either Shakir, Davis, somebody else. Well, so I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about my defense.
They fired Dorsey and y'all went to the run game, which y'all should have done all year, which you weren't doing.
Even then, I'm not worried about offense. I'll be honest. I'm really not.
So real quick, you know who I think is going to be the surprise team this year? Out of the NFC South is going to be the Panthers. I think Panthers are going to have a good showing this year.
No,
I think they are.
No.
Hey, I'm calling it now. I'm a Bucs fan, but
I think this year, I think the Falcons might be pretty good too.
It's going to be. I think Carolina. Our draft was good. We picked up a guard, picked up a linebacker, a safety, a running back, another wide receiver. Re-signed Mike Evans.
Yeah.
But I think Carolina is going to be us in Carolina.
You lost your golden child, dude.
Who?
Brady's not rooting for you guys anymore.
That was 2 years ago, man.
I know. I'm saying Brady's not rooting for you.
Hey, stop real quick. What you mentioned? Hey, in the name of the Father, the Son of Bacon.
Oh my God!
Look,
hey,
Cleveland.
Hey, my mom's calling, dude. I gotta go.
Another quarterback.
Hey, we all believe in Baker. Okay, first off, for him to come in on that year, do what he did, I'm happy. Like, we made the playoffs, we beat the Eagles on off game. I don't care, but we at least made progression. Like, he, as a quarterback, he was solid. Our defense, not so much. We just
he went through the Cleveland Browns quarterback training boot camp.
Yeah,
hey, I don't
all
care.
the good quarterbacks do, and then they come out and they go somewhere else. And
hey, I ain't gonna lie. Hey,
the Bucks used to do that too. We had Steve Young as a backup, got rid of him. He won Super Bowls. Trent Dilfer, our starting quarterback, we got rid of him. What did he go to Baltimore do? Win a Super Bowl. So I know we've been there, done that. I got it. But I'm happy. But I think Carolina's gonna have a good year, man. I think Canfield, their new coach, is our offensive coordinator. I think he's a bright young man. I think he's going to do good, man. I think Carolina's going to be good, Jesse. I know you disagree with me, but I think you're going to have a much better season than they had last year.
The only reason why they're going to be adequate is that they play the NFC South. And
over their wordplay.
Bottom, they're going to play a bunch of fourth place teams in other divisions.
True. Very true.
They have the capacity to be better, but the team didn't really grow, and the draft still showed so many holes because they had to sell the farm to get a kid, Bryce Young, that I'm sure he'll be great, given enough opportunity and enough tools. But when you have the guy behind you, CJ Stroud, going to the playoffs and getting a stronger team, I think we're in that year 2 sophomore season where if he doesn't pan out, the Panthers are getting another quarterback next draft.
I agree. But I think with the offensive mind that they haven't had in a couple years now, I think they're going to do better only because they're in the NFC South. Because you're going to play.
So
they gave up their biggest defensive position, their edge and Burns, and now they have nothing that scares an offense opposing them.
But look at the officers they're going to face. We're not big. The only one I would say would have a very good year might be Atlanta with Kirk Cousins playing. And who really knows how he's going to be coming off the ACL. And, Phoenix are backup. So I think they're going to have – I think it's going to be Carolina 1 in the division and Bucks 2 in the division. I think Atlanta's going to –
So, hey, Jesse, let me ask you this. Hey, we can agree to disagree on this, though. And this is what I'm a firm believer on. I think that the NFC is a weak conference. I don't mean that meanly. I'm saying when the Cowboys can get into the playoffs at 6-8 or whatever, right? Like, you don't have a very strong conference.
So the conference, I wouldn't say is weak. I would say it is top heavy.
Yes.
So you have the Niners, the Lions, the Eagles. And then there's a drop off where you could put in teams.
There's no
like
mid.
The Cowboys. Yeah, you put the Cowboys. You put like the Rams or the Seahawks.
Yeah. The AFC, they're just fighting for their lives over there.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a lot more saturated with talent up there, and we see that there's a nice little roller coaster of who has the stronger rosters because teams just tend to hoard that after they're successful. So the Chiefs are successful. Yeah. Okay, well, we got to do this Cold War against the Chiefs. So everybody starts paying people just to get their rosters to still lose to the Chiefs.
Hey, what do y'all think about Seattle with Pete Carroll being gone as coach and the new coach now? What do y'all think? How they're going to do this year, you think? Steve, what you think?
I have no clue, man.
No?
Yeah, I haven't been paying much attention about Seattle.
Oh, I've been watching. Jesse, what do you think?
I honestly didn't even realize that Pete Carroll wasn't there this year anymore.
Yeah, he's not the coach anymore. They parted ways ish. AKA he got fired and they're like, hey, step down or we're gonna fire you. So,
Yeah.
The Seahawks' biggest issue is quarterback. Geno Smith had one great season.
He's not.
And Geno Smith is still Geno Smith. He's the same guy that was on his cell phone the entire time while he was in the draft interview to be selected. Is this going to be Sam Howell's team by week 7? Is he going to get them 4 more wins so they're competitive at that time? I don't know. They still have Tyler Lockett. They still have DK Metcalf.
But they don't have a quarterback, though. They don't have a quarterback to get to him. That's the problem.
What's his name? I can't remember his name. But their third wide receiver, the rookie that they had last year, like they've got tools and they've got a great defense. I mean, like they drafted really well last year on their defense that they had. So they've got the squad, but that quarterback is going to kill them. I wouldn't be surprised if like Brady goes there.
Oh my God! Now you're gonna get Steve talking shit to me about Brady. That's horrible.
Hey, Brady said on his roast, man, he ain't coming back, and he would have taken the $20 million and admitted the deflating balls.
So let's change